Welcome to the Beau Show. I always like to tie elements of culture into my show because they represent metrics of where we are. Sometimes I focus on the Oscars and Grammys, and sometimes I'll focus on musicians because of my background in entertainment. I've also covered sports stars like Enes Freedom, Novak Djokovic, Peng Shuai, Kyrie Irving, Colin Kaepernick, and LeBron James, because these sports stars have voices in our culture. Well, at least most of them do, minus Peng Shuai, who was likely forced to speak if she's even still around. And celebrities, whether they are athletes or musicians or actors, are larger than life figures. But deep down, we hope that they are good people. We hope that they understand the influence that they have. I know that when I grew up, I loved Joe Montana and Peyton Manning. And as luck would have it, I got to meet Joe Montana at a restaurant. And he couldn't honestly have been any nicer. Just a total class act. It's when our expectations meet reality. But in some cases, the truth destroys our expectations and disappoints us. And for many who love the game of golf, that happened recently when Australian golfer Greg Norman made some surprising comments. Greg Norman spent 331 weeks as the #1 golfer in the 1980s and 1990s. He won 20 PGA Tour tournaments and 2 majors, the Open Championships in 1986 and 93. He was inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame in 2003. In a reference to his blonde hair, size, aggressive golf style, and his birthplace's native coastal animal, Norman's nickname is the Great White Shark, or just the Shark, an image which you can see on his signature golf shirts. He is the CEO of the Greg Norman Company, a portfolio that includes apparel, wine, interior design, real estate, private equity, and golf course design. In 2021, he was named CEO of LIV Golf Investments, an upstart that is financed by Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund that plans to compete against the PGA Tour. This fund is controlled by the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. According to the LIV website, you don't even know who is going to be playing on this tour, which you might as well call the Saudi Golf League. And that's problematic because the Saudi government is an oppressive one. It is reported that Norman signed on to be CEO of this league for 260 million Australian dollars. And the league has about 2.9 billion in its chest thanks to the Saudis, a purse which is meant to attract golfers away from the PGA Tour to compete for more prize money. The first event, the LIV Invitational, is set to begin in early June. So to add more controversy to a league that is backed by Saudi money, Norman recently was asked about the murder of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. He replied the following, quote, "Everybody has owned up to it, right? It has been spoken about from what I've read, going on what you guys reported. Take ownership, no matter what it is. Look, we've all made mistakes, and you just want to learn from those mistakes and how you can correct them going forward. I don't look into the politics of things. I'm not going to get into the quagmire of whatever else happens in someone else's world," unquote. Well, this sent shockwaves not just through the golfing world, but a much larger audience. Norman described the Khashoggi murder as merely a mistake, and we need to move on. And in an interview with Jamie Weir of Sky News, he went on to explain himself in this way.
The golf fan, their issue is more the source of the money that is coming from a brutal, murderous dictatorship. Do you understand that?
100%. And it's reprehensible what's happened with Khashoggi, right? Own up to it. Talk about it. But you go back into Saudi Arabia, they're making a cultural change within to change that. They don't want to have that stigma sitting over there. That the generation of kids today that I see on the driving range, they don't want that they don't want that stigma going into that next generation and their kids' kids. They want to change that culture, and they are changing the culture.
Yeah.
And you know how they're doing it? Golf.
So on one hand, Norman acknowledges the atrocity of the murder of Khashoggi, but then flips the script by saying the Saudis are trying to change their culture, noting that the young generation doesn't want the stigma. Well, of course they don't. Well, maybe Norman is owning up to it in a way, but are the Saudis? Are they remorseful at all? So Weir presses him about how this could be considered sports washing. Take a listen.
Sports washing is what you're talking
no,
about
I'm not
there.
talking about sports washing. They're changing their culture within their country.
Are they? It was 2 months ago they executed 81 men in one day.
Hey, I'm not going to get into politics. I don't know what the Saudi government does with their political side of things. I don't want to get that. But every country, Jamie, every country's got a cross to bear.
I'm not talking about every country. I'm asking about Saudi Arabia. And the fact of the matter is, the same people who stone women to death, who chop journalists up into small pieces, who chemically castrate homosexuals, who 2 months ago, as I said, executed 81 men on the same day, they are your bosses.
No, they're not my bosses. We're independent. I do not answer to Saudi Arabia. I do not answer to MBS.
Okay.
Okay? Let's just get that straight. My investment
People
dollars,
think that you do. People think that the money is going directly from Mohammed bin Salman's pockets into the pockets of the players.
It's not. I can categorically tell you that is not the case. I do not answer to MBS. There's a lot of stuff interlinked today. No different than the Saudi investment, no different than the US government investing with Saudi Arabia, no different than the UK government investing with Saudi Arabia. Everything's interlinked.
So the justification is, well, they do it, why shouldn't we?
No, it's not that.
Yeah.
It's stepping back and understanding the realities of the fact that there is a tranche of money that's out there that's investing in Disney, in Uber, direct, indirect investments that consumers all around the world are benefiting from.
Yeah.
Do they sit back there and go, oh, that's Saudi money, I'm not going to get in an Uber.
No,
or
but
I'm not going to go to Disney.
That's whataboutery. That's, you know, as I said, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because somebody else does it doesn't necessarily mean golf should.
That's where I'm trying to separate it, right? I'm trying to make sure, and this is Greg talking, I'm not talking on behalf of the government or anybody, any government, to be honest with you. I'm talking on behalf of my true belief and my passion and the fact that I'm so proud of the fact that I can take golf to another level, in another place, in another way that's never been done before.
Okay.
And name me the last time somebody was willing to invest $2 billion into the game of golf. European Tour was connected with the Saudis, right?
Yeah.
Happy to take their money then,
Yeah.
right? For years and years and years. PGA Tour in China, Uyghur issues. Happy to take their money, put it in their bank, no problem. But when you really look at, are they truly growing the game of golf and giving the opportunity for those, again, independent contractors to promote the interest of the tournament professional golfer? No, they're not.
Weir is right to ask this question. Are the Saudis actually changing their culture? Doesn't seem that way. And Norman gets defensive, staying away from politics, and that he doesn't answer to Mohammed bin Salman. And he uses relativism and whatabouts, such as this. Well, what about the US government and the UK government investing with the Saudis? What about the European tour taking money from the Saudis? What about the tour in China? And he does correctly point out the problem with the Uyghur Muslims there and their persecution. But I think the issue is that Norman is comparing this opportunity to other business collaborations that have taken dirty money. In Norman's eyes, he sees this as an unprecedented opportunity to grow the game of golf. And hey, that's a noble effort. But he fails to truly realize why it's so problematic. The money is dirty. It comes from a terrible regime. You can't talk about LIV Golf without that context. And would the Saudis back any sort of women's golf, considering their atrocious record with women's rights? I can totally understand his passion for the game and wanting to be a trailblazer and reach new golfers. But I think he believes that the love or the promise of the sport washes away the source of its funding. Now, LIV Golf clarified Norman's statement by stating that Khashoggi's murder was reprehensible and that Norman's intentions were just to show that golf is a force that can promote good around the world. There was no apology included. Here's also where it gets particularly interesting. The US PGA Tour has said that any golfer participating in the LIV Golf Tour would receive a life ban from the PGA Tour. Whether that's possible to actually do is up for debate. But Norman fired back, accusing the PGA of monopolizing the market by banning golfers if they merely want to compete in LIV events. He called these actions anti-golfer, anti-fan, and anti-competition. So what are golfing pros saying? What will they do? Bryson DeChambeau reportedly has turned down an offer of over $100 million after he had initially expressed interest. Golfer Lee Westwood had requested a release to be able to play in the LIV Tour, and he also was asked how he would feel if this would potentially jeopardize a Ryder Cup captaincy. He brought up the relativism as well.
Do you have any issues about where the money is coming from, the source of the money?
Well, we've played European Tour events in Saudi Arabia. I've had releases from the PGA Tour saying that I can go and play in Saudi Arabia. So it's been no problem to them in previous years. The Formula One race there.
Yeah.
Newcastle's owned partly by people from Saudi Arabia. There's been fights there, boxing fights. I think there's been snooker and darts there as well. So golf's not the first sport to, have links with Saudi Arabia, but it seems to be coming under more scrutiny than anywhere else. So whether you think that's right or not is the individual's opinion.
I suppose the flip side of that argument would be, well, two wrongs don't necessarily make a right. Just because Formula One have taken it there, why should golf then go and take that money as well?
Yeah, I think Saudi Arabia are obviously, they know they've got issues. I think, lots of countries around the world have got issues, and I think they're trying to improve. They're trying to do it through sport, which a lot of places, a lot of countries do. I think they're doing it a lot quicker than some countries are trying to do it, and that maybe worries people or scares people, because people don't like change, do they? They like continuity and things to stay the same.
I think it's important to see the golfer's view on this and the corporate side. From the golfer's perspective, they want money. They are making a living at the sport. And the Saudi League offers a bigger purse than the PGA. From Greg Norman's perspective, he's trying to create a competitor in the market to the PGA, which inherently is not necessarily a bad thing. Competition is usually a good thing, so that there is no monopoly. But now let's look at it from the Saudi perspective. They are using the sport to normalize their past atrocities, trying to put a nice, clean varnish on everything.